Hey vinyl community, it's a vinyl finds video, and I wasn't going to do one anytime soon, but we'll get to that in a second. Just hang tight. First of all, I want to thank everyone who watched my last couple of videos. The ones regarding the albums I felt deserved reinvestigation. The fact that so many people saw those, commented, sent me messages, were very complimentary. That meant a lot to me, and it's kind of giving me a kick in the ass to start maybe making. I have a lot of other similar videos that I've recorded, uploaded, not made them public for view. To start, maybe rolling those out. So that was really encouraging. So I want to say thank you to everyone once again. And secondly, was coffee. All right, let's get to the vinyl finds. I had an incredible run. It was about 3 days. And I would be remiss if I didn't document this haul somehow. Later on in years when I'm not doing these vinyl hauls and I'm not out looking at thrift stores, I thought it might be nice to document this somehow. And I thought maybe some of you would like to see this. You guys like the vinyl finds. So I thought, before I file all the records, before I pull ones aside I know I'm going to trade with friends or flip, etc., etc., I thought we'd document this. So all in all, and I'm not sure if I just said this, but I did a count right just before I pressed record, right there. And in front of me is about 72 records. Apart, like I said, from a couple stragglers of single records I found prior to that. But in all intents and purposes, it's what it is. There was 40 one night, and then there was, 20 one night, and then, you know what I mean? So it was an incredible run of, now I'm just dragging it out. You guys get the gist of it. I have a couple new vinyl finds I want to show you right now. I've not been getting a lot of new vinyl in the mail, but what I did get is I got one of my favorite punk albums. It's been re-released, and it's one of those latter-day 90s punk albums. The fine folks at Epitaph have finally reissued Bad Religion, Stranger Than Fiction. And this was previously reissued by Warner Music in Canada anyways. And I used to have this at my old record store all the time, and I never bothered picking it up because when vinyl started making its resurgence, none of us had any concept of what the shelf life would be for certain pressings. So, some things you just didn't pick up because you thought they would be like the old days when, they just do another pressing. And lo and behold, a lot of these things are coming out or getting one pressing. And then they go out of print, and then they go for crazy money on eBay. So I was very, very happy when Epitaph finally reissued this, and it's like $20 or something. But it's one of my favorite latter-day punk albums. As far as Bad Religion goes, they make albums, or they make fantastic albums like this and Generator and Against the Grain. In fact, Tim Armstrong from Rancid's on one of these songs called Television. Anyways, not to go on and on and on, because God knows I have 72 records here to try to show you. Bad Religion, Stranger Than Fiction. I was just over the moon thrilled to get that on vinyl. And Pursuit of Happiness. I've talked about them many times recently. But in Canada, and I'll try to be brief on this one, we had a radio show on our CBC radio network. It was, I believe, Friday night or Saturday night. It was called Brave New Wave. And if you're not in Canada and you're not familiar with this radio show, it was very influential when we were teenagers. It's the closest comparison I can kind of make is the John Peel show or the John Peel Sessions. If you want to hear anything new, anything alternative, anything like that, bands coming in doing sessions, you listen to Brave New Waves. And we would tape record it, and it would make the rounds with our friends, much like the Peel Sessions. And they started releasing them on vinyl. And there's a bunch out now, but the one that I was happy to get was the Pursuit of Happiness Brave New Wave Sessions on green vinyl. You can kind of see it there. This is recorded 1990, and as far as I remember, I think they might have been in between albums at the time. It's a very odd track listing, but that's what I love about it. I hate when bands reissue live albums and all they include is the songs that everyone knows and are available on other albums. This one includes a lot of kind of really odd tracks, which is very, very awesome. So, Pursuit of Happiness, Brave New Wave Sessions. That was the only other new record I got in the mail. All right, we're going to plow through this. I've had to make some notes on some of these albums, and some of them aren't cleaned, and some of them aren't bagged yet. There might be some price stickers on these still, but I just haven't had time to clean this many records and bag them and peel the stickers and etc., etc., etc. But like I said, ostensibly this is from 3 different hauls, about 70. There's 72 in front of me. There's probably about 80 all told, because like I said, I know I filed some away. But we're going to get right to this. There's a lot of really cool stuff. There's some stuff that's kind of bog standard to me, but may not be to you. And just some good catalog filler, things that I can use for traders and whatnot. So let's start this off. I love when people donate newer records. It makes my heart sing, because it saves me having to spend $30 for a newer sealed copy. But someone donated a copy of Arctic Monkeys. And I had to make a note because it doesn't say on the cover. Arctic Monkeys, is it AM or AM? 2013. And I know this won a Mercury Prize in the UK, I believe. I think it was one of the top albums of that year. The only thing I really knew about this album is a couple of the songs on here I spin when I DJ, kind of, the odd time I do kind of, I do fill-in gigs, and it requires that kind of music. There's a couple of songs in here that I have in my song binder to play for the kids. But that was a nice find. Thank you, whoever's donating these newer records, because I'll keep on buying them if you keep on donating them. So that was a nice one. And I ended up liking the album, apart from the couple songs I knew. So that was nice. I should probably say right now, we're going to go until it just, it runs out of steam. And then, there might be a part 2. There might not. I might just bag them and file them. Bob Dylan. Yes, I found some Bob Dylan. I found an original Columbia 2i pressing of his greatest hits. But then, a couple days later, I found an immaculate kind of later pressing of his greatest hits. I think this one is probably, I'm guessing, like an 80s pressing, or 70s. It's on that CBS label. So, double down on the Bob Dylan's greatest hits. Original Columbia 2i and a later pressing. And then I found a copy of Bob Dylan, Slow Train Coming. And I'm going to have to be scant with detail today, just to cram as much in as possible. For those of you who don't like the longer videos, you probably go watch another video. Go watch one with, cats and dogs being all funny, because this is going to be a long one. There's a really good one. I think I said this last video. There's a really good one with hippos, with a hippo farting. My wife teases me with that one all the time. It's hilarious. Maybe watch that one. Slow Train Coming, not my favorite Bob Dylan album, but it's part of this nice haul. The Seeds. Future. I already have a copy, but I found another one. This is, you have to excuse me for a second. I believe this is an original GNP Crescendo pressing. There's the black label. I think there was another, see, I know it varied per country. This one's a US pressing, by the way. The Seeds, and unto itself. And if you're on the YouTube vinyl community on Facebook, you will have seen me post these as I find these at the store. So you'll know that one. And then, a couple days later, what do I find? Another copy. So I have 3 copies of the Seeds, the Future. What I'm going to do is, I think these are all kind of the same pressing. I'm going to kind of cobble these together and make the perfect pressing of the 3 I have. And then what I do with the other ones, I don't know. So anyways, 2 copies of the Seeds. Maybe that'll be my screenshot. The Seeds Future. That's just dumb luck right there. And the other one I had, my main playing copy I have, that was about a year and a half ago at a thrift store too. And then at the same store I found one of the Seeds ones. It was the Collectors. Now the Collectors is an original Non-Such Records pressing, 1960, I want to say 68, 69. But kind of a highly sought after psychedelic album, Canadian band. But this gentleman right here, Bill Henderson, he went on to form a Canadian band called Chilliwack, who had great success in Canada, and I think they had maybe one or two big U.S. songs. I definitely know I remember when I was a kid, them singing My Girl, you know, Gone, 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 She's Gone So Long, that song. I know they sang that on Solid Gold, so it had to have been a hit, I guess. Anyways, that's the Collectors. Kind of, I wouldn't say it's like, you know, it's not the rarest thing ever, but it's hard enough to find, let's put it that way. So the Collectors on an original Non-Such Records pressing. And one of my better finds, because my old copy, I have two of these now, but my old copy, it was beat up. It would play, but also the sound you would get off playing this record was kind of akin to whether if you were frying a big pan of bacon and then put your ear to it. Within there, you could, you know, there's bacon, but there's a lot of crackle and snaps and pops, and that's what this record sounded like. It was a decent enough placeholder copy. And then at the same thrift store as the Collectors and the Seeds, I found Count 5, Psychotic Reaction, a upgrade, not a perfect upgrade. One with very little surface noise and pops and cracks. Some surface marks. Don't give a shit. I'm happy I have a very, very nice sounding copy now. So Count 5, Psychotic Reaction, very nice. Very, very nice find. A couple Jefferson Airplane original presses too, of Volunteers. And an original copy of Bless Its Pointed Little Head. I feel like I gotta really rush through this one today. Man, you wanna see how much I got to show you? This is after what I showed you. I got this pile, that pile, and trust me, there's another huge pile over here. So either we're going to do a 2-hour video today, or we're going to have to break it up into pieces, or we're just going to go until I go and then shelve the rest. And I'll think I'll piss away some time drinking some coffee. All right. Some bog standard stuff coming up. Well, you know what? Let me pull some other stuff here that's not so bog standard. Miles Davis, You're Under Arrest. Not one of his better albums. Maybe one of his lesser albums in total, but I'm not passing that one up. So Miles Davis, You're Under Arrest. Leslie West, Mountain, covers a bit, you know, wobbly. It's an original Windfall Records pressing. Very happy to get that. I'm a big fan of Leslie West and his guitar playing. I wish this stuff was in some kind of rhyme or reason or order. You know what? We're gonna go. I got to dig for this haul because I want this to make it. I want this. The next couple haul are things I'm going to show you, and I don't know why I put them in some kind of order. I want them to at least make the video. There's many thrift stores in my city who have silent auctions, and basically they put a bunch of records in a case and you can bid on them. And from what I understand, thrift stores in the U.S. all over Canada do that same thing. I don't really participate in those a whole lot, but this one I did. And I'm glad I did because no one bid. And when I say I participated, I ended up taking them home. But what happened was they went up for auction. And on a Friday night or something like that, me and my wife were in. I had expressed some interest. I talked to the guy who put them out. And I didn't put a bid in. The next Friday, that Friday where I found like 40 records all told, the auction, as fate would have it, the auction ended. No one had bid on all these records, and he asked me if I wanted them for the starting price. Yep. So once again, that was just kind of dumb luck, being at the right time, right place. But what he had a I want to say, oh, 1, 2, there's 5 original pressings of XTC albums. And I am getting these for the starting price, so they were, I don't know, a few bucks a piece. But I got an original, and I have to make notes in this one because I have a few copies of this album. Original in the shrink copy of Skylarking by XTC. This is the original Virgin Records pressing without Dear God. And I was happy to get this one because I don't have the double version of this one. I have the single version. This is a textured sleeve, original double vinyl version of English Settlement. I have the single one, but not the double one. Really nice copy of the Big Express, original copy. The Black Sea. And the one I was kind of happiest to get, because I already have Skylarking and, well, I guess English Settlement I was happy about. But I got a super nice copy of Drums and Wires. So this will replace my much played copy I've had for years and years and years and years. So I got that via silent auction, no one bid on. And then there was a couple other ones that I need to pull here because it was part of the same silent auction that no one bid on. A band called The Sound, the best band from the 80s that you may probably not have heard of. What's the album? The Lion's Mouth? I believe that's what it is. Probably their better known album. But they had an EP and they had a full-length album by The Sound, an original Static Records UK pressings, of Heads and Hearts and Shock of Daylight. And these were the only 2 Sounds albums I was missing, oddly enough. But yeah, no one bid on these either. So I got these for whatever I can't remember what the starting bid was, 10 bucks, so 5 bucks a pop. I'll pay that every day of the week for these Sounds albums. Like I said, one of the best bands from the 80s you've probably not heard of. If you like kind of that alternative 80s kind of sound, shoegazy kind of stuff, listen to The Sound. You know, I'm just going to grab a pile and show them to you. Some of it's just bog standard. Copy of Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA with the original lyric sheet in it. Stan Getz. An album I was not aware of. There's one listing on Discogs for this, and it's a Canadian pressing. This is the one. Don't know why, but it's an album called The Best of Two Worlds, and it's Latin jazz. It's Stan Getz. I have not heard it yet, but it's Latin jazz, and it's funky, and it's Stan Getz. So I'm happy to get that one. A sealed copy, and I love this woman because she sang with the Sisters of Mercy, a band that I love. Ofer Haza. And it's a sealed copy of, I can't pronounce the name of the album. It's a sealed copy from Israel. Someone donated a bunch of Israeli albums, and this is the only person I knew, and I love Ofer Haza. But Sheree Moldet 2? I can barely speak English at this point. But yeah, really nice find for that one, I felt. Midnight Oil, Blue Sky Mine. It's the regular black vinyl version, not the blue copy. I do have the blue vinyl version of this one, but I have never seen this in a thrift store ever. That was a first for that one. Another copy of Bryan Adams' Reckless. I think I had a copy of this in my last video, but you know what? I could take 2, 3, 4, 5 of these albums, and I always have people looking for these ones. So just good, solid stuff for traders. Same as that. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. I always got people looking for this album. They'll never let it be known in public they're looking for this record. But they'll say, do you have No Jacket Required? And don't tell anyone. And then I say, yes, I got No Jacket Required. And I'll say it in front of everyone. Because don't be embarrassed to like Phil Collins. Just don't. Found another copy of George Harrison's Cloud 9. One of my favorite Split Enz albums, Frenzy. I See Reds on this one, and Stuff and Nonsense. It's one of those Split Enz albums that Hermit McDermott's on this album, Give It a Whirl. One of those Split Enz albums that doesn't get a lot of love, but definitely one of my favorite earlier Split Enz albums. Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and you might be saying, why did I pick that up? Well, this is produced by Paul Simon. And this was, I believe, recorded after, I could have my facts wrong this one. I believe it would have to have been recorded just after Graceland. So whether you want to call it Graceland 2, I don't know. But it's Paul Simon and Ladysmith Black Mambazo, who pretty much, not to use the word ostensibly again, which I've been using a lot again. They're all over his album Graceland. I think they might be on pretty much every track on Graceland. So, like I said, this is another kind of Graceland collaboration. A couple of videos ago, I said I had never found this in the wild, and a lot of people said, well, I find it all the time. And I said, well, I don't. And then people would say, well, I do. And then I would say, well, I don't. And then we'd go back and forth that way. I found another copy of Enya. Was it self-titled? Yeah, it's self-titled. I found another copy, which is fine because the other one I found and I showed you last video, or a couple of videos ago, that's gone, out the door. Found a new home for it. These are keepers for me, as a lot of these are. But I see these at thrift stores all the time. Finding good condition copies, never. But you know what? Elton John Greatest Hits 1 and 2. Man, what more do you need? Early Elton John. Nothing fancy there, but on a Friday, Saturday night, I got nothing to do. Put these two on. It's a good night. Dr. Hook Greatest Hits. Some of these I'm just going to skip by, just so you know. David Lee Roth's Crazy from the Heat, which I found out recently was my wife's very first album she bought. This one. She loved it. She won't let me play it now, but apparently she just was in love with this album when she was young. So, good on her. Edie Brickell, The New Bohemians, Shooting Rubber Bands at the Stars. Very, very happy to find this one. This is one of those standalone ones I found. It was a single copy I found, and I kind of just mixed it in the pile. You don't really care. You just want to see the final finds. Styx. Really nice copy of Grand Illusion. Like I said, these are just things I pick up because I can find trades for these every day of the week. Styx 1, this was a reissue of their very first album on Wooden Nickel. And then they did reissue series when they got big. RCA thought they'd jump on the bandwagon and make some extra dosh. Then they reissued their earlier Wooden Nickel albums in these horrible fucking covers. Horrible. And I love early Styx. I do. But these covers, fucking... I was happy to find this one because I had a copy. It was okay. I found a new home for it. But this one's in the shrink. Really super nice copy of Nancy Sinatra Boots. Worth it alone for these boots are made for walking. And possibly one of the worst Beatles covers ever on here. Day Tripper. It's not my thing. But Nancy Sinatra Boots. Really happy to find a nice copy in the shrink. There's Nancy there. Scratching her head. I wish it was real. I think this is one of those other straggler copies. An original 1958 mono Columbia 6-eye pressing of Marty Robbins, self-titled. For you country fans out there. I see Marty Robbins albums all the time. I've never seen this one. An original mono 6-eye pressing of that one. I'm sure that one will find a new home. Maybe with Liam Dyer or someone. The Royal Guardsman, Snoopy and his friends. Never owned it. Gave it a listen. It's a fun listen. If you've not heard this one, it's good. There's the Royal Guardsman. Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. I showed this one on Facebook. And then I had a few people commenting that it was a complete shit album. So, you're wrong. It's the Rolling Stones. It's basically a Rolling Stones album. It's called Jammin' with Edward. I played it. It's fine. It's basically what it is. It's the Rolling Stones. It's Mick Jagger, Charlie Watts, Bill Wyman, with Nicky Hopkins, I believe, on organ, and then Ry Cooder on guitar. If you believe, depending on what story you believe, Keith Richards. These were outtakes and jam sessions recorded when they were waiting for Keith Richards to come to the studio because he couldn't be arsed. One story says he was pissed off because Ry Cooder was involved. He wasn't happy with his guitar playing. Or he couldn't be arsed because he was under the influence, depending on what story you believe. Doesn't really matter. They recorded all the outtakes while they were waiting for him, and they came up with this album that was released many years after the fact. And I may have this fact wrong. I believe these were outtakes from the Let It Bleed sessions. And then it was released a few years after that. Just outtakes, but it's outtakes of the Rolling Stones. So, it's worth it right there. Some people thought it, when I posted this on Facebook, some people thought it was a bootleg, but no, it's an actual Rolling Stones Records pressing on their record label. It's not gonna blow your mind, but it's a nice little glimpse into the Rolling Stones jamming with Ry Cooder. You know, I'm just going to show you this one because it's such an odd compilation. It's called Rock Shop, and it's on a UK kind of budget label. But you say no big deal, but how many albums do you get? Generation X. You get Blondie mixed with Bill Haley, T-Rex, The Move, Joe Cocker, Carl Perkins. So it's kind of a mix of like, you know, like Generation X Blondie kind of stuff with early rock and roll, some 70s glam thrown in. It's called Rock Shop. And most people would just look by this one. But like I said, if you're just doing nothing on a Friday night, it's a damn good listen. You get some old rock and roll. And it's not bullshit songs either from the 50s. It's actually the actual recordings of Bill Haley and Jerry Lee Lewis, etc., etc. So yeah, that was just a fun listen and a fun dollar find. A couple Nazareth albums. Snaz, double live album. And 1980s, The Full Circle. I have now pretty much almost completed my Nazareth collection strictly through thrift stores. It's they were very popular in Canada. And I think I've mentioned this before. A lot of people still think they're Canadian. They're from Scotland. I don't know, somewhere like that. But yeah, so I keep on finding these Nazareth albums, and I'm going to keep on buying them. So 2 ones I did not have. Frank Zappa, and I keep on finding this Fillmore East June 1971 album, but I can never find it with a decently clean cover. And usually I'm pretty good cleaning these records. I just can't get the gunk off this one, but it plays nice. I'm not the biggest Frank Zappa fan. Sorry, Mitch Woods. Yeah, I'll take it or leave it. I know that's kind of blasphemy to say. But yeah, you can't like everything. Adamant, Kings of the Wild Frontier, and I'm really happy to get this one. Like I said, this is one of those ones you may think is bog standard. I had this copy, and then I stupidly traded it to a friend of mine locally. He needed a copy bad. Why? I don't know. But this is an original copy from the UK, and the original copies came in with the merchandise booklet inside. And this one has it too. So I got a replacement copy for $1. And truth be told, I sold it to my friend for much more than $1. Devo, Shout. The only Devo album that was available on vinyl but I didn't have, and I got it for like $1.99. See, he's shouting. And she's listening. Clever. Kind of a lesser Devo. This was kind of the end of their run, in my opinion. They kind of started to peter out around this time with Shout. I mean, I guess their last kind of better-ish albums. I'm going to have to end this quick, and I still got massive piles. It's been a good run. Like, it's been massively good. It's still cold here, but the odd good couple days we get, people are cleaning house, and they're just donating and donating. By the way, I found out that my DJ partner, Jay, watches my videos. He didn't tell me until we were DJing the other night. Jay, can I have my headphones back, please? I can't believe he didn't tell me he watched my videos. It's embarrassing. I've been in a massive, and I don't know why I'm being animated about this. I've been in a massive Mott the Hoople. Like, I've been listening to so much Mott the Hoople. I saw this BBC documentary. It's on YouTube. Please watch it. The Ballad of Mott the Hoople. And it just reminded me how much I love them and how few of their albums I actually have. And then I go out a couple days after watching the documentary, and I started adding their albums to my Amazon cart because they're very expensive, these reissues. I go out, I find 2 Mott the Hoople albums at thrift stores. See, I don't know what this is. So yeah, I've just been in this rabbit hole of listening to Mott the Hoople and Mott the Hoople and Mott the Hoople and Ian Hunter, and I've always loved it, but it's been a while since I've kind of got into it. But one of the best live bands ever is early Mott the Hoople. They get kind of shoved in that corner of glam rock, and they did kind of adopt that later on, but they had a whole career before glam rock. One of the best live albums, bands. How about I get to a live album then? It'll make up for my fuck up there. I found a copy of Moth the Hoople live. Really super nice copy. Not to go too much in detail, but as far as I understand, this was recorded in New York City. They did a series of 5 dates on Broadway. And they had a whole Broadway thing going on with marionettes and a whole show going on. And if I understand this right, and if I have my facts wrong, I apologize. Queen opened up this tour. And Moth the Hoople on this tour was the only band that Queen opened up for, ever. On this tour. Moth the Hoople live. Amazing. It's amazing. And then I found a copy of Mott, one of my more favorite Moth the Hoople albums, with All the Way from Memphis. And what was the other big hit off this one? Honolulu Boogie. That was the other big hit off this album. The band, Moondog Matinee. I'm going to have to end this here. It's getting crazy time. And I still got... Man, I still got tons of records to show you. You know what? We'll end it here. That was a lot, because I didn't talk so much about the records, right? But I find it better to show less and talk more about the records I'm finding, and just share why I'm so happy to find that certain record. So today's all about blowing through it. It's quantity over quality today of video. I wasn't going to do a vinyl finds video, so this is bonus content, more or less. This is bonus content on that Blu-ray you got from Christmas from your relative who thought you would like, this Blu-ray, and you took it, and then you got some bonus content you didn't want anyways, and you can't regift it, much like this video. So yeah, consider this video the Easter egg on the Blu-ray you never wanted from that relative. That's a bad analogy. Anyways. You know what? I'm going to end this with the way every other fucker ends their videos. Not you guys. Not vinyl people. These people who get billions of views. If you like these videos, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos from Nazz Nomad. Anyways, I got lots of really cool videos coming up. Just stay tuned. Not necessarily vinyl finds, but some good videos. Good, if you like music, I got you hooked up. Take care, everyone. I hope you liked what I showed you. Maybe we'll get to the other ones some other time. All right? Peace.